Rev up your engines!
Well, Hertz is accelerating, trying to get rid of the biggest mistake they ever made, buying that 100,000 plus Teslas. People don't want to rent them. People don't like them. And the prices are dropping like a stone. I mean, if you really have to buy a Tesla, it might be a time to buy one. Now, I would never buy one myself. But, I mean, hey, if they're getting as low as they are, you might get a decent deal on one. And the problem for them was they were only depreciating at $300 a month. And now they're saying they're depreciating twice as fast, $600 a month. If Hertz, say, kept one for 2 years, they would have lost $14,400 in depreciation alone. And then, of course, they have to sell the thing. Who wants to buy these things used? Not too many people want to buy used electric cars. They've read the horror stories about you can't get parts for them, the insurance is higher, the tires wear out faster. So it was a big, bad bet. Yet the electric people, they still keep believing in the dream. Listen to what the guy says. This is from an Electric Tech article. And the writer says, there's a ton of value in having EVs as rental cars. Tesla vehicles are particularly good for that, as you can transfer your driver profile to the rental car easily. That's awesome. They're talking about people who own Teslas renting a Tesla. This is the patent absurdity of these people. They believe in this crap. No matter what happens, they'll continue to believe. They keep thinking, it's real, it's great. No, it isn't. Most Americans don't want this electric crap. And the point that they don't want to rent them at a rental facility is doubly so. And that's why Hertz is getting rid of them. People don't want to rent them. I saw them in the Boston airport. They got rows of them. Nobody wants to rent the stupid things. Go to Boston. They don't have electric chargers all over the place. You want to rent, you're in a strange place, you're at an airport. Do you really want to rent an electric car? You don't even know where you're going to charge it up. Is it charged up? Hertz really took a hard line on this one and lost a ton of money. And I think it's hilarious. Hilariously enough, there's a guy in Germany who runs a fleet rental company for all kinds of stuff at airports because they got some rules in Europe that only electric vehicles could come pick people up here, blah, 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 right? The guy said, I sent all my Teslas back because there were piles of crap. I use other electric cars that work okay because the Teslas were made by junk. The frames were cracking in half. They couldn't take the work. They were poorly built. They broke down all the time. It took forever to fix. This is the guy in Germany who was actually renting them out to people and using them as lease vehicles. And he said, he sent them all back and said, I'll never get another Tesla. They're terrible vehicles for rental, contrary to what this idiot who wrote this article, who obviously is an electric car fanboy. Okay, airbags. It's never going to stop. Another deadly airbag recall could hit 49 million cars. It's the new airbags. This isn't the old one. This is a new one. U.S. regulators are proposing to recall more than 49 million faulty inflators in the United States. Now, these inflators were sourced from manufacturers Arc Automotive and Delphi Automotive Systems. So far, they've been linked to 2 deaths. And hilariously enough, if you remember in the past, the Arc Automotive had recalls for its products in March 2023, and they refused to recall millions of them. The whole idea, the only reason they made airbags was because people weren't putting their seatbelts on, so they thought, we'll do a passive thing. Then they found out if you didn't have your seatbelt on, there were just airbags, you're going to get smacked by it too hard, break your nose, might even kill you, might break your face, bones, do all kinds of stuff. So they make it more complex. You have to have a seatbelt and airbags. And then they don't build the things right in the first place. Realize an airbag is an explosive device. And who would even expect an explosive device that's never been used? Let's say you got a 12-year-old car. 12 years later, you think the thing is really going to work? I don't think so. And they're finding out they aren't. They're exploding too much and they're not working at all. The whole thing is just, it's going on endlessly. And this isn't the Takata airbags. This is a different thing. These airbags, hey, please, put your seatbelts on when you're driving. That's the best thing to do. All right, if you're thinking about electric motorcycles, I'd say think again, especially if you're thinking about buying a Harley-Davidson Livewire. They got quality controls, but the design itself is just a massive affair. Here's a guy who bought one. He didn't like it. All the trouble lights came on, and as he said, my check motor light came on. I could barely go 50 miles at 55 miles an hour on a full charge. You can pay all that money for a motorcycle and it goes 50 miles at 50 miles an hour and runs out of electricity. Then you got to push it somewhere. And they're heavy, right? Now, the claimed mileage of these things is only claimed 70 miles at highway range. So all you can do is go on the highway for 70 miles. What a useless motorcycle. And they say there's a 113-mile range in the city. Still, that's not that good. Right? You pay all this money for a motorcycle. And if they say it's a range of 70 miles at highway, they're probably talking about 55 miles an hour. Most guys on motorcycles are going 75, 80, right? And then the range would even go further down. Electric motors, faster they go, the less efficient they are. So when they rate electric bicycles, electric motorcycles, they always try to rate them, oh, we're in the city, we're going 25, 30 miles an hour average. And they have regenerative braking, so, they can generate some of it back. But most people like riding the motorcycles out on the highway, out in the country, and they're useless for it. From what I can decipher, they have sold 1,700 of them total, as long as they've been making them. Now realize, the LiveWire were released in 2019. That was 5 years ago, and they've sold 1,700, whatever, 300 of them a year. That's not too good for a company like Harley Davidson, and that's worldwide, not just the United States. So Harley, give up with electric motorcycles. That's not your forte. They're stupid ideas anyways because they don't fit. You can't drive them far. Yeah, let's see them make an electric cruiser. You get on a Honda Cruiser, Yamaha Cruiser, you can go all over the country. I know people who are the Iron Butt Rally people. They'll go from Tennessee to Golden Gate Bridge, then back to Washington, D.C. to see the Lincoln Memorial, and then back to Tennessee. No problems at all. Yeah, you can't do that in an electric motorcycle. It'll take you forever. Try to find a charge and try to find a place to charge them up, too. Their motorcycles are different, right? Harley, give up with the LiveWire. It was one of the biggest mistakes you ever made. Well, if you think you're stranded at the airport for a few hours or maybe a day and you feel horrible, think about those poor astronauts. They're in that ridiculous Boeing Starliner that they took into outer space and landed on the space station. Now they've been there for almost 2 months. They've been there for 8 weeks, and they're still waiting. Imagine waiting at an airport for 8 weeks. It's a bit more claustrophobic in the space station. You can't really walk around much, right? You get a good view, though. They got a heck of a view if they got windows to look out. And, of course, they lied in the beginning. Oh, it won't be a few days. The Boeing guy said, those are pretty small issues to deal with. We'll figure them out in the next mission. I don't see these as significant at all. Well, if you've been sitting on the space station for 2 months and you're supposed to be there for a week or so, I think you'd think it was pretty significant. Coming back is probably worse than going because the most pressing concern was the failure of multiple reaction control thrusters that are essential to steering Starliner during its departure from the space station and setting up a critical engine burn to enter Earth's atmosphere. If they don't slow down, they will burn up. So, Boeing, their planes are bad enough, their spaceships are even worse. So as it stands, how long they've been sitting there? Almost 2 full months, and there's no sight of their return yet, and they won't comment on when they're going to do it either. Jeez. Can you imagine being stuck someplace for 2 months? Well, here's something I never knew because I don't have one, but 19 states in the United States now have Easy Pass for going through the tolls and stuff, and you can use these tags to pay for gas and parking. New Jersey just allowed it, but there's 18 other states that allow it too. I thought originally, who cares? What difference is that going to make? Well, those are the RFID chips. You don't have to show anything to anybody, so you don't have to worry about somebody stealing your credit card information. When you go to the gas pump, put the credit card in, there's a lot of people around that are stealing that information. Well, you'd be using your Easy Pass instead. And then when you're going to park somewhere, you just drive in, the gate opens automatically. Now you got to sign up for it. All ones aren't going to work immediately. The systems are made so that you opt in. Okay, yeah, I'm going to use it to pay for this stuff too. And if you think about it, hey, not a bad idea. You're not giving your credit card information out. Now, strangely enough, it ends up being charged to your credit card. The state doesn't want to have anything to do with paying for your gas bill or parking, so it's immediately transferred to your credit card, but they don't get your credit card number and stuff. Wherever you're buying the parking or buying the gasoline, they don't get your credit card information. So you're not showing your credit card, and it's a safer thing. So, hey, maybe not that bad of an idea. They don't have any tolls in Tennessee here, so I don't have one of those things. Okay, I can't help but laugh at this. The feds now have issued an order that bars Vineyard Wind from generating power after their turbine broke. Off of Martha's Vineyard, they're building all those wind turbines, which I thought was a stupid idea in the first place. Well, one of them broke. Then they weren't supposed to do any work, but it turns out they were still on the side doing work. Now they said, you can't work on them. You can't generate any electricity. Some of them were generating electricity. They forced them to shut them all down. And these things have just begun. It was only a few months ago that they even put any of them online. So, what a massive failure. Now, This new Fed order prohibits Vineyard Wind from generating power from its turbines, continuing construction of new turbines, and requires it to submit a personnel risk analysis and list of mitigation measures to the Bureau. Now, the turbine's manufacturer, GE Vernova, said the damage was caused by a manufacturing issue. If it's a manufacturing defect, it is their fault. They can't even make the wind turbine. They've been making wind turbine blades for quite some time. Now they can't even make the things that are falling apart right when they turn them on. It's just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So now they're sitting out there doing nothing. It kind of reminds me, when I'm in Rhode Island, there's one a few miles from my house on land, a wind turbine, and it hasn't worked in over 15 years. These things are giant albatrosses. And now the truth is coming out, and everybody's starting to wring their hands, and even the feds are getting involved. The ones who are saying, we need more of these green things, well, they don't work. Oh, we're going to have to study this for 10,000 years now to figure out what went wrong and why do we even do it in the first place. All I have to say is, don't say I didn't warn you, because I did. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.